Today I want to share with you a framework that has helped me tremendously when it comes to stress, anxiety and overall mental health. I'd say it's extremely powerful. And if you're an upcoming creator too, I think you will really like it. So I asked myself one day what feelings really are. There are these feelings, one time I feel good or one time I feel bad or so forth, but what are they really? And then after days of reflection, I found out that there are really two components to feelings. First, the situation itself, or more likely the internal sensations that we have. Like for instance, I have tensions in my forehead, tensions in my hands and so forth. But then we also have another component, which is a label. We have a good label that tells that this sensation is good, and we have a bad label, which tells that this sensation is bad. And that's quite funny. In my day job, I spent over a year now labeling different products with either yes or no, etc. I figured out one day that I could apply the same framework, but replace 1,000 products or so with 1,000 sensations. I walk outside, it's cold. Previously I labeled it as bad, but now I'm going to relabel it as good. I find myself on the bus and it's too late, it's too crowded, but instead of labeling as bad, I label it instead as good. Or when I go to the gym, I feel particularly tired, but this time I don't label it as bad, I instead label it as good. You get the idea. It's the same thing with trying out and liking new food. In my childhood, I really despised oatmeal. It was the worst thing I could ever think of. But now I eat it every single day, and it's one of the most delicious things I've ever seen for breakfast. And very easy to make too. So especially today when I'm challenging myself, I'm working longer and longer, I'm improving the quality what I show to you every day. This framework is very applicable, I should say. And I have another example of this labeling process. For a very long time, I had this very clenched jaw. I clenched throughout high school and middle school and elementary school and all of that. Up until, I should say, a year ago, I didn't want to let go. I didn't want to feel what was in there. I noticed that tensions in body in general, could be in the pelvic area, could be in the feet, could be in the hands and so forth, are unconscious labeling as bad. So what I did very recently actually, that I switched my wallpaper. I switched it that now it says, what am I unconsciously labeling as bad? You can apply it to many circumstances, like for instance when you're standing on stage or even speaking in front of the camera, or when you're doing a new thing which you're not excited about, or you try to go to sleep, find yourself with racing thoughts and so forth. During those times, I've asked myself that question and later found that it's mostly because I wanted to avoid let go, if that makes sense. But when I did let go, when I decided that, okay, what I felt right now is now good, but not bad, then I felt that, especially when I was relaxing, and keep in mind, I've been relaxing for a very long time, meditation and so forth. I found myself, instead of doing this shallow breathing, I did more belly breathing and so forth. It was much easier, and then I felt these good feelings come again. Not that the sensations themselves changed so much, but more in the case that I was more aligned with them and could then have the awareness, called it that, to dissolve those tensions more and more. And especially now when it comes to the jaw thing, I found that since I've been looking this way for so long, by simply looking more this way, this has had significant benefits when it comes to elevating or more relieving this tension over here. So especially when it comes to things like YouTube, and metrics can go up and metrics can go down and so forth, and many creators find themselves being totally run by the metrics, creative burnout, something. I found that by labeling each time something happens, could be when it goes up, when it goes down, always as good, I found myself not being particularly affected by it. And also have this buffer of 6 videos, and it changes tremendously in terms of quality. I get better and better each day. Whenever something flops, called it that, I'm not too bothered by it, because I know that the 6 videos that are coming next, those are the good ones. Those are the ones that really shows who I am. So I get some distance from what I post to you every day and what I actually recorded every day. By simply having these good labels, bad labels, recognizing that tensions are bad labels, which are more bad habits, in which you can then relax and make good labels out of it. I found that every time I apply that, it has totally change the situation. And keep in mind, when it comes to things like, speaking and even recording, it could be recording music or stuff like that, the state really matters. You want to be as comfortable as possible because then the ideas and what you say are flowing. And I found it, especially since I talk without a script now, that it's more in a case of talking whatever I have on top of mind. And in these moments, it's so key to not get bogged up in these little things. And it's good to have this good label coming up all the time. What I'm saying is good in order to make myself relaxed and to then having this freedom to get in this, speaking flow or whatever. What people call enlightened, what they call the ultimate state of bliss or nirvana, whatever that's called, could actually be achieved by simply tapping a good label to everything. It doesn't really matter what circumstance you are in, because if there was a particular circumstance, everyone would be the most happy, have the exact same life, but they don't. Even Viktor Frankl said at one time that it's mostly a case of choice. So if you're having quote-unquote mental health issues, panic attacks, anxiety, depression, so forth, having this knowing of bad versus good labels and see whether you classify something as bad and classify something as good, etc., I believe can be very useful. And what usually happens when you label something good, you move up a little bit. You say, okay, well, I'm now labeling as bad, and on and on and on until you reach this enlightenment state or whatever. I wouldn't say that I'm that at all. Of course, there's this ignorance thing, but you don't know what you don't know. But it's a very powerful concept, at least. And as the last thing, you probably noticed the background music going on as I talked. This is entirely played by me. From now on, there's going to be a backing track for each new video which I upload, because I like music, I like to hear music, I like to play music, and so forth. And I noticed that by simply playing my own music, there's a lot of benefits. I get this creative control in which I can think of something and then immediately go and record it, so I can customize what I want the moods to feel like to my own needs, so to speak. And also give some personal element, in the age of AI and so forth. It can be good to stand out a little bit and give an outlet to the more musical abilities. These backing tracks can all be found on my second channel, and if you're creating content too, you can use this completely for free. I'll be very happy if I see someone else using my backing tracks as something that's helped them. And today, as I'm recording this, I'm going to record over 25 more songs like this, so this is going to be fun. But once again, keep these good labels and relabel bad as good, whatever happens, and I feel like you don't need to worry about stress or burnout or anything ever again. And let me know in the comments if you found this framework particularly helpful, and if you want me to cover some other topic related to this field, because that's a very big part of productivity, having this emotional control in check. I'll see you in this video right here, and always remember that you're the most amazing human being alive.